Mission Sports TV. This is The Locker Room. I'm Dave DeRocher, and I'm joined by my buddy, Tim Busy. How are you?
Dave, my man, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. So first, I'm going to start with why the gear. I talked about it in our last interview with Dante that we were going to go as a group that you didn't make. But don't worry, I carried the torch for us.
Thank you.
To kick the dirt one last time at the old Jack Murphy Stadium. Jack Murphy, a.k.a. Qualcomm, a.k.a. SDCCCU. It's the Murph. And it was really a great opportunity to go. We had a handful of guys there, and maybe 20, 25 guys. Some guys brought bolt cutters to cut seats off. And they didn't care. I mean, it's, the thing's being demoed. The demo started Monday. So literally Sunday was the last day anybody could be in there. So I appreciate the athletic department for putting that together for us and allowing us to just kind of, do that. And it was fun. It was great. Share some stories and see some guys. And that's what guys do, right? Get together and start telling stories, war stories.
That's what it's all about, man. That connection, and there's nothing like that teammate bond that you build over the course of a career. And you know the saying, Aztecs for life, baby. So that's
Aztecs for life. So that was fun. And one other quick note: I probably should do this a little bit more, Tim, is share with folks some of the things that we're doing, because I know you do a lot with youth. I've been recently engaged in a lot of things helping veterans, and I'm going to be doing a fundraiser next week. Helping Care Possible, that brings psychiatric care to veterans here in Orange County. And they're doing their 7th annual Care Possible, 7th annual Salute to the Military fitness competition, and various ways of doing fitness and getting people to donate, even vacuuming, no matter what it is you're doing, and they attach points to it. So what I decided to do is I'll slap on 225 pounds on the bench and see how many reps I can do it. And I'm hoping that I can get friends to donate $1 a rep. And it won't break the bank, I can assure you. My best ever, and I'm nowhere near that, was 46. So I don't think I'll get to 46. But if I could do half of that and raise a few bucks, for Care Possible, worthwhile event, helping military that are the guys with the PTSD and the dependencies and they're struggling. Randy Moratis over at Care Possible does great work. So keep an eye out for that. And are you anything going on that we can tell people about before we start talking about our interview?
First and foremost, you got my pledge on that. I will definitely do that. That sounds awesome.
All right, cool.
I got you. You got my commitment there. Just getting ready. We have a flag football league coming up for the youth out here in Dana Point area, and designed for kids 8 to 14 years old. We're going to make it as fun as we possibly can.
When are you launching that, Tim?
So we're looking early January right now. We're working with Capo Valley District to reserve fields. Things are just a little iffy right now still with space and being able to see what we can and can't do. But we're getting ready to rock and roll for early January. So we're super excited about that.
Very cool. Yeah, and then we're doing the same thing, of course. I think Friday we're meeting with our advisory board for Mission Sports to start getting our calendar built out. A lot of it hopeful thinking, wishful thinking. We don't know, but we want to be prepared for when it does open up. So, we have a game plan for that. So, yeah, it's all great things. And that's what I love about doing this. We're doing so many great things for the community and being of service and doing so many purposeful things. I think it's great. And we just welcome any support we can get from y'all. All right, so Ivory Sully is our guest this week. Hold on to your seats.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Ivory is in mid-60s. Played for the Rams, special teams guy, and I'm telling you, I think if he had a helmet behind him like I do, he probably would have thrown it on and come through the screen. I mean, that guy. Talk about energy, right?
I need that juice. My goodness, I was hyped up. I'm ready to go run down the street after this episode. He brought it, and it's infectious, man. That energy, you feed off of it, you feel it, and man, just appreciate the guy.
Yeah, and then the message too, the message about growing up and sports being so important to him, but all sports, and you bring up the point in the discussion about how so many kids are getting the blinders on and focusing on one sport, which is fine. But I would encourage you, much like what we all did, and that's do multiple sports. And I mean, Ivory was, well, he played tennis, horseshoes, hockey. I mean, this is no joke. I mean, he literally played almost every sport there was, but then it rounded him out. And the one sport that he ended up doing professionally was the one sport he wasn't allowed to play. But so we got into this, right, Tim? I mean, why? Why did he not play that one sport? Or why did he play all those other ones? And he shares it made him a better athlete once he got to the opportunity to play football. It made him a better football player. And it's all about listening, right?
All about listening. It's that constant curiosity, exploring, and that's what he did. He just said he wanted to play, and that's the opportunity that you have as a kid. He had parents that supported him and told him to go, and that's all he wanted to do. And whoever's listening out there, you never know what sport you're going to be good at. You may love one sport, but you don't know what you don't know. So if you try something else and you excel at it, go down that path. You never know what opportunities that it can bring or opportunities that it will serve later down the road. And that proves true for Ivory, as it did.
Well, it's funny because as you were saying that, I'm thinking about my own story where I had some scholarship offers for basketball. I wasn't going to play football. I wasn't good at football, and I had a high school football coach say, gee, son, come out and play, and I'll get you a better scholarship. If I would have just stayed focused on the one sport that I knew I was good at, which was basketball, I can assure you that's where my career would have ended, because I would have gotten the small, Cal State LA scholarship or Colorado XYZ school, I forget even what it was, scholarship, and did my stint and been done with it. But because I was open to somebody believing in me, and just like, Ivory had someone believing in him that said, gee, you can do this. You just never know when the opportunity is going to be.
I love it, man. The Lord's always behind the scenes too. It's sometimes we get so stuck in the moment, we can't see everything else that's going on. So keep that trust, keep working hard, and keep going down the path.
Yep. And we don't always listen with our ears, right?
Right.
Because he's going to be talking to us. And if we just think we're going to hear some voice booming out of the blue, well, then you're not going to hear anything. But if you're conscientious of what's going on around you and what people are saying around you, and the people that are being placed in your life for a reason, the opportunities that are being placed in your life for a reason, that's God talking to you. But you need to be aware and cognizant of that. And I think as we get older, it's a lot easier to say. We look back, oh, that's why I failed. Well, that's why I went through that, because I wasn't getting it, and so God just was trying to get me back in line, but I just thought, well, that we're making mistakes. So, anyhow, so it's so great having these guests on, because we talk about a different topic literally every time, I think, and it's just people being brought to light. I hope everyone's digging the people we're having on. And with that said, we're going to take our quick break. I can't wait to show you a fresh clip of us actually doing camps. But for now, it's a pretty cool clip. So we'll be back in a little bit. Welcome back into the locker room. We are joined by our guest, Ivory Sully. Hey, Tim, will you introduce Ivory for us?
Yes. He played 9 years in the NFL. During his tenure, he earned the nickname Mr. Hit. He played in Super Bowl XIV with the Rams, where he was named the team captain. He was named to the all-time NFL 100-year anniversary short career team. And after his playing career, he went into the fashion apparel industry, becoming a prominent business owner and a brand expert in the space. Welcome to the locker room, Mr. Ivory, Sully, sir.
Man, the way you said that was like, I like that guy.
Yeah, see, that's our job. Our job is to make you feel important. So far, so good. Don't mess it up, Ivory. Here we go. So, it's funny. I'm a guest on a lot of podcasts as well, and sometimes they take the full press release that I sent, and I'm like, holy smokes! I start getting a little embarrassed. They're like, okay, let's move on. This is Dave. Okay, well, let's go. So,
good.
Speaking of let's go, Ivory. So we always start the show with talking about your youth. What did sports look like for you? What did faith, if any, at that time look like for you? And kind of share your story growing up.
Well, that's a good one, and it's a really good one to smile at, because I was blessed with a really good youth. I had the fortune of having a really great family around me. That I realize and recognize is not commonplace all the time, but I was blessed in that regard. I had a father and a mother who supported me, and I had brothers and sisters who also played sports in kind. And for me, I was always one. We grew up in rural Maryland, and so in rural Maryland, you weren't close to any of the epicenters in the world. You're out in the country. And so, our thing was the Baltimore Orioles, Frank Robinson, Brooke Robinson, Andy Etchebarren, all these guys that played for the Baltimore Orioles and were World Series champions. And geez, we just always really just wanted to be, a Baltimore Orioles. So, but we had a backyard, and we went and we made out of the backyard a baseball diamond. And so every day, the kids in the neighborhood would come over to my house in my yard, and we play Baltimore Orioles baseball. And, we weren't playing it with a darn, but we played it, and it was really a lot of fun. And gee whiz, just the excitement to be able to play with a bunch of kids and a bunch of people at the same time that you wouldn't ordinarily do with. It was a great way to start interacting. So we started with that, and then I moved with my family to New Jersey. And when I moved to New Jersey, there was a lot of opportunities that I had no idea. I mean, I actually got to play baseball on a Skeeter League team. And so it was really an organized thing where I excelled. And so when I excelled and I did well in that, I tried other sports. And to be honest with you, I tried every sport on the planet. I mean, from wrestling to basketball to you name it. And I played ice hockey, whatever it was. I was interested in it because I just wanted to be an athlete. That's all I was interested in doing. And I just had fun utilizing my body. And I was athletically gifted. I was exceptionally fast. When I was a kid, I was always fast. And, I just was able to play these sports. Now, what it came down to, though, at the end of the day, was the fact that I wanted to play football, tackle football, not two-hand touch, not flag. I wanted to play the real deal. And guess what? My parents said no. They wouldn't let me play. Now, this is me in elementary school going to junior high school. They wouldn't let me play. I was not allowed to play football until I begged my father. He was in the hospital having a surgery that he had something taken out, and I just begged him to let me play. So I caught him at a weak moment, and he said, yes, go ahead and play, for crying out loud.
Heavily medicated.
Yes, exactly. So it was strategic, but the timing was right, and the Lord definitely was watching over me to have that happen. So that was a good thing. And so what ended up happening was, as a junior, I ended up playing football, and I happened to do fairly well. I mean, that was my thing, and I really wanted to play it. When I was a senior in high school, I got drafted by the Phillies in the 17th round. I didn't want to play baseball. I wanted to play football. I ran track. I was a state champion in tennis. I gave tennis up for football. So that was
Jim
just
Thorpe.
was a sports freak. When I was a young guy, and it did me good. It kept me out of trouble. It was just fantastic. And I had the opportunity to go on and play college football after high school and at the University of Delaware. Fortunate enough to be a Hall of Famer, if you can believe that. I can't believe it, but I am. I'm impressed sometimes with people saw me. I said, thank you so much for looking at me so favorably. So I felt like I was very, very fortunate in that regard. And then was a free agent going to the Rams. I played University of Delaware. I was a running back. I changed positions the first day. Ray Malavasi, the head coach of the Rams, changed my position and said, you're a defensive back now. I never played a day of defensive back in my entire life. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I'd never backpedaled before. I didn't know what it was about. So they figured, though, if he's going to have a chance, he's going to have a chance only on defense, because we had guys like Wendell Tyler, Lawrence McCutcheon. We had all pro guys that were just, at that time were the guys, for the Rams. And so I wasn't going to be a running back. So they switched my position, and what they did was they put me at defensive back. Here's the thing that I want to talk about really importantly today. I had an opportunity to do something with my life. They said, no, you can't do it the way you want to do it. You do it the way we want to do it. I went back to my room. I cried for a solid hour. It was lunch break when they called me in after the first day of practice. And I cried for an hour. Then I buckled my daggone chin strap up, and I did nothing but fight and claw. I would beg, steal. I'd do anything it took to make that club, and that's how I did it. And I did it on special teams. Yeah. You understand why now? That's why they call me Mr. Hit, because, dude, I just wanted to be the guy that they had to see. You couldn't take your eyes off of me, for crying out loud, if you were on the field, if you're a coach, because I was lighting somebody up or something up, and that was the deal. So how I did it in the pros. Let's get that one straight right now. 9 years.
Ivory. How many years has it been since you played? Because you almost came through that screen.
Yeah, I know. Baby, let's go.
I'm done.
It's funny, as you're talking too, when I was in Seattle, there was 2 guys that made this squad purely on special teams. Rufus Porter, then ended up going on to being an all-pro. At an extremely undersized outside linebacker, and having a great career. We had a linebacker, the same thing, and just finding a way, like you're saying. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, even backing up, Ivory, I want to talk a little bit more about your childhood too, and just coming up playing sports. It was that constant curiosity, right? I think in the world today, people are so focused on, I'm going to play football and I'm going to play this position. And they're so set, and they have that mindset where, they don't want to do anything else. But it was that constant curiosity that you had that helped you excel across all these different sports. And then you had options.
First of all, very astute, and very good that you realize and recognize that, because that's really what it was. My parents weren't ones to put a chain on me and say, oh, well, you're good at this, so you're going to do that. Sometimes that happens. Me as a kid, I wanted to go from the wrestling mat to the track. I wanted to go from the track to the high dive. I was a diver and a swimmer. Anything and everything. I was a lifeguard, for crying out loud. All. And you know what? The thing about this is that was exciting for me. It was all the different disciplines. My parents told me, you know what? Enjoy them all. Enjoy them while you can, because that's how you're going to be the best athlete you can be. That's what was put in my head. That's what it was. And, so if I didn't live up to that, I probably wouldn't have been the athlete that I was when I got to the Rams. Because, tennis and having the finesse to play tennis and get and move the court and use your footwork and do all that stuff. Let me tell you something. There's no way I play defensive back without ever playing it if I didn't have tennis in my background. So everything that I did, I played ice hockey. Okay, look, dude. Okay, look at me. I got a tan. All right. Back then, it wasn't very often that you see guys like me skating around. Okay, I was a guy that had to do it all, and I was the fastest on the team. I had to be. I just strove to be the best, and I just wanted to have fun. That was it. It was just so much freaking fun. But you're exactly. It's a very good point that you bring up. To do it, diversify what you're doing. Don't get stuck on thinking that you're going to be the, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and you're 5'10", you're
right.
5'10" grade, but you're still 5'11" when you get to be a senior. You're not going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You're not going to be that guy. You're not going to be Shaq. So do things. Just cover the whole plate.
So, right. Well, hold on, real quick. The other part of that is you don't know what else you're going to be good at. So as a kid, you might love one sport, but you might excel in something else that creates an opportunity that goes and helps you pay for college or whatnot. So don't limit yourself. If you're good at one thing, you're probably good at some other sports out there too.
Oh, I plead and I beg that that guys, girls, whoever's listening to this right here, go do it. Be an athlete, because to your point, you don't know what you're going to be great at. You're going to be given, you're given gifts. There's no question about that. The Lord gave me gifts that I utilized and I put them to use. And I was ultimately blessed with a career in professional sports, but do it all. I encourage you highly. Very good.
Ivory, and as you're speaking, we've had a number of guests come on and speaking about their childhood and about the wisdom and the guidance of their parents that, unbeknownst to them at the time, well, assuredly it paid off down the road. And I, much like you, wanted to play football. Jack Youngblood was my hero. Wanted to play football, but I was too big to play with kids my age, so I would have to have aged up like 2 years. And my mom said, nope. You're playing soccer. And by playing soccer for 7 years that paid off for me, because I was important and I'm running around and I wasn't playing the sport of football that probably would end up damaging me because of my growth spurts and my body wasn't ready for football. And so, but in her wisdom, she just didn't want me to play football, but if you listen to your parents and just do the best with what's presented to you, and and then down the road you don't know when you're going to be able to take advantage of some of the opportunities. So that being said, because it just seems to be the theme that's just so on point that our young people is that your parents are there with your best interest at heart, and they're doing their very best and advising you the best they can. What about faith? What about where did you go to church as a young man, or did the family go, or and then how did that move along with you as you went from high school then to Delaware, and where some of the trappings we all fall into as athletes, and that kind of thing. So
yeah. First of all, I want to speak to the point that you made about our parents. You're exactly right. However, they have the wisdom, and once they relented and gave me the opportunity, they were my biggest supporters. They didn't miss anything. Mm-hmm. They went to every home Delaware game. They traveled 3 hours to get there every weekend when we were home. They were not short on being who they promised to be as my parents. So that is a very strong statement that you make right there, because I truly believe that. And with their support, I mean, there was nothing I couldn't do. I really felt that way. I was fortunate to be introduced to my Lord and Savior at a very young age. We went to confirmation classes, and I had a very good group of friends that I learned to know, and we were friends, and we are still friends to this day. I'm 63 years old. We're still friends to today. And that was the group that I grew up with. We had a confirmation group, and it was girls and it was guys, and we learned all the things about while we were growing up, about the differences between boys and girls and the relationship thing and all of that stuff. For that reason, and I was, I think it was an advantage. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you, I didn't kiss a girl until I was a senior in high school. I was too involved in sports. I was too involved with getting my grades. And, I was too shy to try to go get a girlfriend. That's the truth of the matter. I knew what I knew, and that's what I knew. So that's what I did. And girls were it. However, when you get to college, the challenges of college, and one of the challenges, might look like it is an absolute blessing, but it's not. It's not. Temptation was all over the place. When you are an athlete at a major school and everybody's looking up to you, all of a sudden, all this attention was coming on me. And I said, wow. I kind of went into my shell with regard to that. I didn't kind of bust out in it. And the reason why I did it was I had something in my heart that really drove me and directed me during those difficult times. Now, difficult times are going to come at you, opportunities or distractions and or things that really aren't what you should be doing. They come to you. You do it. Those are the days that you do it. And some of the decisions I didn't make very well. I made mistakes. And fortunately, I had a head coach. I'll tell you a story. I'll give you a story. When I was a junior in college and going into my senior year, my coach, Tubby Raymond, one of the great coaches in all of college football, he taught us the wing T, and I was a wing T running back. So I was the guy in the offense, and people were paying attention to me. So I had a bunch of knucklehead friends that weren't football players that liked to drink beer. And I wasn't much of a beer drinker. I'm not, that's just not who I couldn't drink a lot. I wasn't like that, but I did drink sometimes. And so we went on the off season to go to a basketball game at Villanova. And it was a bus that was traveling to Villanova from Delaware. And before we get on the bus, what do? We go ahead and have a few beers. Well, it was more than a few beers, quite frankly. And so by the time we got on the bus, we were pretty well lit. And so being lit and being on a bus with Delaware fans and everything, and everybody notices it's Ivory Sully, that's one of these guys that's lit. I can't believe it. And before you know it, the word gets to Tubby Raymond that one of their star player is on the bus and he's hammered. And so I had to go ahead and make this famous walk to Tubby Raymond's office, which is at the top of the field house, and it's very long stair walk. And you're thinking and wondering, man, I'm going to get cut, or something bad's going to happen. He put his arms around me, and he told me, and these are the things that I think that the Lord puts in front of you, because he put Tubby Raymond in front of me, and he said, Ivory, you have a decision. And he told me, he never told me how good he thought that I really was before this. He told me, he gave me every accolade that he could give me and built me up to tell me that I'm too good to just let this loose by going down that road. And he encouraged me. It's my decision to make these decisions and make the right ones, because I had a future, he said. Now, that coming from him really opened my eyes. And so with that, I was blessed with his blessing that he was going to be there for me. He opened his doors to me. He opened his heart to me. And I think that is the work of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I'm telling you, that's the work of the Lord right there. And from that, I elevated it, and I got taken by the Rams. It's just amazing. So.
It's amazing that when people say, oh, God doesn't talk to you, well, then you're not listening.
That's right.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah. He's like, hey, Ivory, what are you doing on the bus, man? He's going to have Coach take you and say, hey, young man, and you listen. So, you're right. That's the message.
That's the message, and that's the Lord working. And you're right, man. He's talking to us all the time. It's whether we hear him. We have to redirect, stop living in our little bubble of what we think is great, and go ahead and listen to what's going on out here, because the Lord is always going to be talking to you, and he's going to tell you, dude, don't go down that road. It's better over here. And I took his advice.
The Lord works all together for good. So, man, it's a great story, and appreciate you sharing it. Moving along, I want to talk about every kid dreams of, playing whatever sport they're in at that highest level. You were fortunate enough to play in a Super Bowl. Take us through that experience and, talk to us more about that, what that was like for you.
It was a pretty surreal opportunity. As I told you, I was a free agent. Now, being a free agent, that means you didn't get drafted. So you got picked up, and it was the day after the draft that they signed me. And what that also meant was my contract. My first contract was $25,000 with a $300 signing bonus. You know what I did with my signing bonus? I went and bought some weights. I bought 300 pounds worth of weights so that I worked out to get ready for the Rams. That's what I did with my signing bonus. And, the opportunity to play on a team or get on a team when you're a free agent, and everything you're last in. I was last to ask questions. I was last to eat dinner, eat breakfast. I was last in doing everything. And and they make no bones about it. You got to earn it. If you're going to do it, you got to earn it. And I had to earn every bit of it. And so when you're in the corner in the locker room where there's about 25 other free agents, and you really look and you realize, man, there's only going to be one or two that come out of this corner before everybody else gets cut to make it to this team. If that, I was the one guy to make it out of that corner in the locker room, the free agent corner, we called it. And it was wild because I didn't make the active roster I didn't play the first six games because they wanted to keep me. What they really wanted to do was hide me. Back in those days, they used to hide you, and they had different ways to do that. They knew that I was an athlete, and they wanted to develop me. I ran 4.27 in the 40, I was world-class speed, and they said, we can't lose this speed, so they put me aside. Then what ended up happening was somebody went down to injury, and they actually activated me. I played that first game against the Minnesota Vikings, and I blocked a punt that went for a touchdown that won the game. And I'm saying, you tell me if the Lord's not talking. Who does that? Who does that? You gotta be, not me. Oh my God. It was just unbelievable. That first year was just tremendous. And I was just elevated. My spirit was elevated. And, fortunately, I had the opportunity to go to Bible study. The Rams had a great Bible study. And, guys like Jack Youngblood and guys like Rich Saul, who was an all-world actor, and guys like, and there was the former players that came back, Merlin Olsen, Phil Olsen. They came back to have these Bible studies, which were so empowering. And I belonged to something at that point, Then you play and you go to the playoffs. We're playing the Dallas Cowboys, Roger Staubach's team. And I'm the rookie. I'm the one, and they put me in a special defense that we produced just for the Cowboys that day. Bud Carson, who was an all-world defensive coordinator and head coach, Bud Carson developed this system called the dollar. It was the dollar package. And it was seven defensive backs. I was the seventh defensive back, and I had to cover Tony Dorsett. coming out of the backfield. He was my guy. He didn't catch a ball. We won the game. I mean, just blessings right and left. Now, needless to say, I had to perform, right? But the opportunities were there to perform. And so we actually go to the Super Bowl, and I'm in the Super Bowl. We unfortunately lost the Super Bowl by a very small margin to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were ahead in the fourth quarter, and we just didn't hold it out. But oh my God, I'm in the Super Bowl in my rookie year, after I wasn't even a member of the active roster to start the year, and I'm playing in the Super Bowl in Pasadena. Wow, dude, you know, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. That's what a blessing looks like.
So, right. And the thing I love about it is you count your blessings too. I mean, at every single stage, you recognize that, and you had that gratitude. And that's something I think that a lot of us forget to do as athletes, right? Or in life in general. It's like always, what's that next step? What's that next step? What's that next step? But to stop and be still and recognize that the Lord is God, and to be thankful for the situation that we're in currently. I mean, I think that speaks power right there.
That's exactly right. And not only on that side of it, let's go to the sides where we're in distress and you're on the field. Because the field, being on the field, it's life and death, man. I mean, literally, you know, you're trying to knock somebody's head off.
And they're trying to knock yours.
Huh? Excuse me? Yeah, I was always the aggressor, man. I said, I'm going to be the hittee, not the hit. I'm going to be the hitter, not the hittee ever. That's it. It was over for getting hit. I'm doing the damage. But, you know, the thing about it is when you're down, let's take this example, okay? You're coming in from Los Angeles, beautiful 75-degree weather out here. You're practicing, you're playing in it, no problem. You go down to Tampa Bay, it's 99 degrees, 99% humidity, and you're sucking eggs. It's 140 degrees on that freaking field. The sun's beaming on you. The Rams just went through it at Miami. Dude, when you're dead tired and you at the end of the game have to make a play, and you don't have enough energy to even stand up, much less make a play. I had lots of conversations with my Lord and Savior, and he brought me through every one of them. They weren't always successful, but you know what? He was there to give me the strength that I needed, and I called on him on a regular basis. The Lord was right on the tip of my tongue. He was on the tip of my mouth, always ready to shout his name.
Hey, so Tim, Ivory, I was telling Tim that you know, we've got to know each other on another level. You know, we're working with kids and trying to help kids navigate now careers and life, and not just kids, but you know, people that are in jobs that they don't like. But really, I think both of us would agree that we're really passionate about helping young people forge a game plan for life. You know, start find out what your strengths are, find out what your passions are. And so, Tim, just so you know, the same passion he just talked about his football career, he takes when he's telling me about his program. We only have a few minutes left, Ivory, but tell people a little bit about what you're doing to help people, because I went through it. It's a great program. We're going to be doing some stuff together, but give us an idea of what it is you're doing, and then how people can reach you.
Right. Listen, the thing that's important is when you're going from one stage of your life to the next, that you recognize that you're going to be transitioning, and how you transition from high school to college to the pros, from the pros to real life. I went through all those transitions. It really takes a skill set to understanding yourself better than anything else to be able to successfully transition. This is very important for especially kids transitioning from high school to college, or from college into the real life. And the most important thing is you must know your strengths. If you do not have a direct understanding of your strengths, and you don't understand even what they are all about, don't worry, you're not the only person that doesn't know, because most of us don't know and don't play to our strengths. We play to what we think we like and not what our strengths are or what the natural calling from the Lord is for us all. We all have gifts, and we have to understand what those gifts are. I work with my company, Sully Executive Services, and we go ahead and we work with an assessment tool that is absolutely the engine that drives everything with regard to your understanding the things that you need to about yourself so that you can make the transition that you need, the best one. I didn't play baseball. I made the right decision because I knew what my strengths were. My strengths were I had aggression in me and I wanted to have a place to get it out, and I got it out on the football field. I feel bad about myself. I stumbled over that one. But what do you do when you're finished playing and doing the thing that you want to do the most in your life? What do you do? Where do you go? How do you know what your strengths are? You come to Ivory Sully and you come and get assessed, and you come to understand and really take a grasp on what you do best, what your strengths are, and you apply those strengths to going forward in your life. And it will last you a lifetime. So you guys, anybody can get in touch with me at Ivory, Ivory, at Ivory Sully, IVORYSULLY.com. All right? Come say, I'm interested in knowing what my strengths are. Please, can you help me? And we'll sit down and we'll go ahead and have a chat. How's that?
And like I said, it was amazing. I've done a lot of assessments. We've done a lot of assessments on our research for Path 2. I would say 95% of them were not worth our time. When I got through with Ivory's and sat with him, it was very enlightening. And it's not just tells you where you are, it tells you what people think of you, what you think of yourself, and where you're going. Really pretty cool stuff. So, and Ivory, we'll put some links up on our website. This is where Tim tells people where they can find us.
Yes, over on YouTube, we are at Mission Sports TV. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well at Mission Sports Network. We want to talk with you guys. This is all about community. That's what the locker room's about. It's about having your teammates in there and being there for each other and building each other up. So make sure you reach out, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, Sully, man, you brought it. You brought your A game, and and if I were to do a resurrection team, I'd make sure you got a helmet, because I think you're ready. So
I hope I didn't talk too much, but golly, so much. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
We appreciate you. Hey,
appreciate your energy, man. Thank you so much.
Yep. Hey, folks, with everything that's going on, we just had the election, still shaking that thing out. Love and respect each other. No matter what happens, love and respect each other. Be good teammates.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.